Hey, Galveston may be known for its beaches, its seafood, and southern charm, but look a little closer and you'll find a city with spirit and not just the kind you drink. Many people lived and died by the sea. The island has a lot of ghost stories, and some say a few are still hanging around, refuse to leave. Historian Mister McKinney is here to share the stories that still echo through Galveston's haunted streets. Hello there.
Hey, how you doing?
And you are dressed as a historian. This is something that you live and breathe. You don't dress like this every day, but you live and breathe, and you feel like it's so important for us to stay connected as a community.
You know, this is the 1890s, the steampunk industrial revolution type energy we're bringing over here, which really connects with Galveston's history because, of course, as we all know, the 1900 hurricane really changed things. Right. But prior to that, it was a major city, a major port.
Founded in 1836, which is the same date in Texas history.
Yeah, very close to when Houston was founded as well. So you got people that inhabited the island many years before that, though. But as an actual city, they incorporated 1839, and the rest is history. But it was that major business thoroughfare, that major Wall Street of the South in our region, and the wealth was there.
The wealth was there, and also the diversity. We talk a lot about it today, thinking that it just recently came. But you know, while Ellis Island had that immigration of people mostly from Europe, Galveston had people from Europe, Africa, Asia, everywhere.
You know, absolutely. The whole idea about the railroads in the 1870s to populate the interior of the country. So we saw that in the 1870s, 1880s, people coming into the interior, especially the Germans, which is why we have places like Schulenburg and Fredericksburg and New Braunfels. So really, it became a major hub for all this activity.
Yeah, all right. And as you mentioned, on its way to really solidifying itself. At one point was the biggest state, or biggest city in the state. It was supposed to be the crown jewel of Texas.
Something
and then,
happened.
as you touched on, that something was a big something, the storm of 1900.
You know, it was it still is to this day, the largest natural disaster for casualties that's happened in America's history, all right? So September 8th and 9th was a big deal. Over 8,000 people lost their lives, rumored to be as many as 12,000 people. It changed the trajectory of Galveston's future. And you can only imagine all those people that passed away and perished, they're at unrest, and their spirit does haunt the island.
Yeah, and that happened shortly after. They would say that. Okay, so after 1900, Galveston was rebuilt, but a lot of the buildings still remained, and those are some of those places that they say are the haunted ones. They hear footsteps and cries.
Oh, you see it all over the island. So Galveston is absolutely one of the most haunted activity places within Texas itself. And if you look at the island specifically, some folks that might have gone to that Walmart on 69th and Seawall Boulevard notice some activity there. Well, that is because, and speaking of activity, what they notice is they'll see little bouncy balls go down the aisles, and they'll wonder what's going on with that. Well, that's because they hear kids playing and listening. They see bags of flour knocked off the aisles and little kids' footprints in them, and that's because of St. Mary's
Orphans
Orphanage.
Asylum.
It was a big deal. Yes, so in the 1900 hurricane, 93 young people and 10 nuns perished and lost their lives in this horrible hurricane. They were all tied together by the nuns, and those
They thought that was the safe thing to do, so that the kids wouldn't get lost. They tied them all, which the problem was either all survive together or die together.
It's all or nothing. Yeah. Only 3 survivors. The older of the young men, these are 13, 14-year-old young men that actually survived out of all those folks that passed away. So their spirit does haunt that Walmart. There's a lot of activity there. There's also activity at a very historical hotel.
Yeah, Hotel Galvez.
The one and only 1911, the beautiful gem of the Gulf itself. Lots of activity, including in room 501. And that connects with a young lady known as Audra. And she was actually waiting for her beautiful boyfriend to come home. Well, guess what? She finds out, she hears word that he actually died at sea. What does she do? She hangs herself in the west turn over there, and he ends up coming back and finds her.
She thought he was dead, and he was not. Wow, it's kind of like that Romeo Juliet type of story.
Absolutely,
right?
And she haunts the building along with young people too. You've got a little girl there that's also in the parlor, ice cream parlor. You know, just kind of walk around the island. The Bernardo de Galvez portrait itself, the eyes will follow you around. So you know, if you want to go to haunting, definitely stay at the Hotel Galvez. Have your event there because you'll notice some activity there.
Yeah, all right. The Galveston Railroad Museum.
This 1932 Art Deco building by E.A. Harrison is a really special space. Okay, it's a wonderful museum. It's got great history, but it also has a great haunted past. Ooh, a very, very sad scenario. William Watson, for example, was decapitated near the station, and his headless body has been rumored to haunt that building and haunt that property. So a lot of activity over at the Galveston Railroad Museum. They've been around since 1982 doing great work and really teaching the history. And when you go to the lobby, you'll see these white statues, these haunted white statues, these passengers of the past by an artist in Brooklyn. So it really can be pretty eerie there.
Yeah, because they kind of glow, right? All right. And then there's Ashton Villa, which was built in 1913.
Yeah, so Ashton Villa itself, Nicholas J. Clayton was the architect for Ashton Villa. He's a very important Galveston architect, and it was done for the Brown family. And actually, Betty Brown, she's the person who actually haunts that building. She's an important socialite over there. And so you hear the music playing from the piano itself. There it is right there in the parlor area. And they hosted major events in Ashton Villa. And it has a really interesting past when it comes to Juneteenth, because that's one of the locations that General Granger actually read the Emancipation Proclamation. So it was, back in the 1870s, it was actually a location for Civil War activity too.
There was a granddaughter we spoke to who had gotten stories from her parents and her parents' parents about the storm of 1900. And a lot of these mansions, she said, literally the water was so high that people were floating by and they were plucking them off and trying to pull them into their residence. And so it's crazy. Those buildings themselves have, as you mentioned, so much history. Yeah. All right. The Strand Historic District has a lot of history too.
You know, you can walk up and down the Strand for numerous events. Dickens in the Strand is coming up. Obviously, you've got no shortage of events like Mardi Gras that happen up and down the Strand. But that's one of the oldest parts of Galveston, right there by the actual port, right there where all the activity's happening. And a lot of those buildings that survived the 1900 hurricane, for example, they were used to store bodies. So those bodies, those people that their final resting place was there, for example, they're not happy, and their energy is all throughout. And there's so many wonderful Galveston tours that you can do with people that live on the island and do this and actually take you around to all places of the Strand.
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts? Have you felt that energy? Have you experienced these things?
You know, I know something's out there, so I'll leave it at that. And it makes perfect sense, right? I mean, all these people are not really at rest, and they want to make their presence known.
Okay. I mentioned earlier how you really feel like history is just a connection in the community. You do a number of things. You work with school kids, adults, tourists that come into town, and you get to share that history with them.
You know, I do. All throughout Houston, and even in Galveston, we do historical tours on board the open air school boats, which we launched here at Great Day Houston back in 2017. So I never forget that. It was a lot of fun, and really it's just been a blessing to be able to teach Houston's future about their past, including their haunted past.
Yeah, I love seeing you around town. Every now and then I'm around town, I go, oh, there he is. There's Mr. McKinney. All right, for more details on Mr. McKinney's Historic Houston and various events he has, he's also a great speaker at whatever events you might have. Visit greatdayhouston.com for links, and we will connect you.